Me lavo las manos. I wash myself the hands. Me levanto. I get myself up. Se cepilla los dientes. She brushes her teeth. If you want to know and understand how the reflexive verbs work in Spanish, stick around till the end of this video to find out. ¿Están listos? Pues vamos. Hola chicos, ¿qué tal? ¿Qué onda? Bienvenidos al canal Vamos Español. In today's video, we would be talking about the reflexive verbs and its uses. Now, the reflexive verbs in Spanish are verbs where the subject performs the actions on themselves. Let's take a look at the mirror effect. Whatever you do standing in front of a mirror reflects back on you. Or the bouncing ball effect, where you throw a ball to the wall and it bounces back to you. So literally, whatever action that is taken falls back to whoever creates the action. That is a reflexive verb. But how do we identify these reflexive verbs? Now, they are just infinitives that carry a two-letter word, se, at the end of it. Now, if you don't understand or if you don't know what infinitives are, I have a video explaining that and you can find the link in the description. So, reflexive verbs like lavarse, levantarse, despertarse, and all that. But the real question is, how do we conjugate these kinds of verbs? It's simple. We conjugate them as regular or irregular verbs, but we add a reflexive pronoun just before the conjugated verb and after the subject pronoun. This is an example of what I'm talking about. The reflexive pronouns are things like me, te, se, nos, os, if you're learning Spanish from Spain, and se. Now, I want you to see them as myself, yourself, himself, herself, ourselves, and themselves, okay? And a simple formula that will help you conjugate the reflexive verbs perfectly is this one. We have the subject, we have the reflexive pronoun, and then we have the conjugated verb. So whether it is a regular verb, an irregular verb, or even a stem changing verb, the outcome remains the same as long as you follow the formula. Let's take an example. Levantar, which means to lift, like to lift weight or to lift something else. But to lift yourself up, literally to get yourself up, to get up, we would say levantar, and then we add a se because of the yourself, right? And that tells us that it's a reflexive verb and that we need to use the reflexive pronouns to conjugate the verb. So how do we conjugate the verb levantarse? Here's how. And it goes like that for every other reflexive verb that has the se at the ending. And remember, it's conjugated like every other verb, but because it has a se, while you're conjugating it, it has to have the reflexive pronouns before. So let me see how you do these reflexive verbs in the comment section. So for levantarse, because the verb initially is levantar and is an AR verb, so we can just simply say levanto, levantas, levanta, which means I lift, you lift, he or she lifts, right? But because it's a reflexive verb, the action has to be done on yourself, so we're literally lifting ourselves up. So we say me levanto, I lift myself up, but this will translate to I get up. This is the verb you use when you get up from the bed every morning or in the afternoon or night. So levantarse is to get up, literally for oneself to get up. So I get up is me levanto. She gets up would be ella se levanta. Okay? So I get up at 5 in the morning. Me levanto a las 5 de la mañana. That's just a clear example. Another way we can place the reflexive pronouns is by attaching it to the infinitive verbs just to give it a more realistic meaning. So if to call oneself is llamarse, and I want to say I want to call myself, we would literally say quiero llamarme. Remember, llamarse is to call oneself. But to call myself is llamarme. Why? Because I just told you that me represents myself, and to call is llamar. So to call myself would be llamarme. Okay, to call yourself, which would be te, is going to be llamarte. So the verb I want in Spanish is quiero. So I want to call myself. I would literally say quiero llamarme. So a typical example would be, I want to call myself John. Okay, so I can say quiero llamarme John. And remember, I told you that the reflexive pronouns can also go before the conjugated verb. So the conjugated verb here is quiero. So we can also put that me as a reflexive pronoun before quiero. Okay, so literally in Spanish, we also say me quiero llamar John. It's flexible. So the me can go before the conjugated verb or attached to its own infinitive to represent the person we're talking about. Okay, other examples are, she has to shower herself, which would be ella tiene que ducharse, or ella se tiene que duchar. We need to get up at 7. Necesitamos levantarnos a las 7 de la mañana. Or nos necesitamos levantar a las 7 de la mañana. Nos, because nos represents ourselves. So we literally have to get ourselves up. We have to lift ourselves up. Another example is, they always shave in the morning. Siempre se afeitan por la mañana. Now, se, because se can also mean themselves, or if we're talking about a single person, you can say se, which means él or ella. But in this case, se is representing ellos, themselves. So siempre se afeitan por la mañana. Dale chicos, hasta acá el video de hoy. Now remember, the reflexive verbs are very easy to learn in Spanish if you follow the patterns I just gave you, and all you need to know is just that they function like every other verbs in terms of conjugations, but they always have the reflexive pronouns just to add more meaning and context. If you like this video, please do me a favor and give it a thumbs up and subscribe for more videos like this. Nos vemos pronto. Adiós.